using words like terrifying, and it says a lot about the tone.
This is the Villainz Lair podcast. Welcome to the lair.
And welcome inside the Villainz Lair on a Thursday. I am your host, Ryan Young. Alvin out of the office today. Had some family things to deal with, and we shout out Alvin and his beautiful daughter making her way into elementary school. So congratulations there. We will see Alvin very soon back again on this channel. Lots to talk about today. Maybe a little bit of an abbreviated show with just one voice, but some big news and some really cool stuff to talk about. But before we get to that, I want to let everyone know that you can now subscribe to this show. You can download this show, the audio version, on Spotify and Apple now Apple Music. So head over to your favorite music streaming, podcast streaming site, and you can download this podcast to listen to at the gym, on your ride into work, wherever it is you like to listen to podcasts. We are now available in the audio format only, and you can still catch us as you're watching now on YouTube if you want to see the visual stuff. We were always showing videos and images that are leaked online or shared or announced. So lots to see on YouTube with the visual version as well. Also want to remind you, you can still enter to win a free copy of Insomniac's Wolverine on PlayStation 5. All you got to do is subscribe to the Villainz Lair on YouTube. Hopefully you've already done that if you're watching us. And then head over to Instagram, follow the Villainz Lair on Instagram. Go to our sweepstakes post, which is pinned at the top of the page. Like that and share it with 3 of your friends, and you'll be entered in to win a free copy of Wolverine, which comes out in September. So we're running out of time. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers. When we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, we will announce the winner. Okay, cool. Well, let's get to what we want to talk about here today. The big stuff, the big anything Avengers Doomsday at this point is going to be a big deal and most likely lead the show. And what we have at this point is our first official synopsis. So it may not seem like a lot. It may seem like it's a bit obvious, but let's go over this anyway. So the official synopsis for Avengers Doomsday says, beloved heroes from 3 distinct universes will be set on a deadly collision course and face an existential threat unlike anything they've ever encountered. Okay, so let's just talk about that and break that down. It's a smaller synopsis. So when we're talking about 3 distinct universes, we can guarantee it is the 616 universe that are our Avengers teams and that the MCU has known and to love, right? You've got the Fox X-Men universe. That will be one. And then the toss-up here is whether or not we're talking about the Sony universe or we're talking about the Fantastic Four universe, which was introduced, not the Fox one, but the First Steps universe that was introduced. This is the Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, that universe of characters, that version of the Fantastic Four. That's what I would assume. So based on some rumors, reports, leaks, take this with a grain of salt, and a major spoiler warning here. The opening scene will show the Fox X-Men fighting with the Sonyverse and looking to stop an incursion between them, and the Fox X-Men are there to destroy the Sonyverse so that there is no incursion and to save their planet and ultimately their universe. So what that tells me is it's obviously going to be the Avengers, the Foxmen, um, and the Fantastic Four. Those are the three distinct universes that are coming together to face an existential threat. That threat, probably twofold here. That threat is obviously the threat of incursions. We know Maria Rambeau is, Monica Rambeau is trapped in the Fox X-Men universe. So, if you remember back to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, another being not in their wrong universe, that leads to an incursion. So those X-Men are going to be looking for the 616. So whether or not who comes to who, those universes are going to be colliding. So that's an existential threat. And then obviously the title is Doomsday. We know Doctor Doom is the big bad now, and so Doctor Doom and Robert Downey Jr. Are another threat like they've never encountered. We've heard the directors say that Doctor Doom is even badder than Thanos. So Thanos was able to wipe out half the galaxy. So just imagine what Doctor Doom is willing to do. So much to we're still waiting for this trailer. We know that folks at CinemaCon were lucky enough to see it twice. And the general public has yet to see it once. So we're still looking forward to that. When that trailer drops, you better believe this channel is going to go all out for that. So excited for that big reveal. Excited for the Marvel presentation in July at Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. And so we will keep you up to date with everything going on with Avengers Doomsday. So another thing we want to talk about here is obviously production is starting. It's underway. We know we've seen some stills of production behind the scenes, but the Batman Part 2 is underway, and one of the stars from the first film, who was so good he got his own spin-off series on HBO, which was amazing, is Colin Farrell's Penguin. And he was interviewed earlier this week by Variety, I believe, and he had to say, he was interviewed by Screen Rant, excuse me. He had to say some interesting things talking about this, and you can tell that he's really, really excited. He feels great about the script, and he's really excited to start filming. So let's just kind of go over what he said here. He was promoting Sugar season 2, but admitted he's read the full script for the sequel and said, quote, "We haven't gone to that place yet where somebody arrives with a titanium briefcase chained to their wrist and 7 pages of only my scenes. I got to read from the first to last page, and it's really magnificent. I think Matt Reeves is brilliant, and he wrote not only tonally a really kind of dark and at times terrifying piece, and not only psychologically weighty and nuanced, but really feeling. I just think he wrote kind of a contemporary genre masterpiece, really. I'm only in 2 scenes, which is great because it means I can enjoy the rest of the film. Honestly, man, it's so good. I'm so excited about it." And then later confirmed that he's flying to London in about 4 to 5 weeks. So, really excited to see what's next for, Oswald and the Penguin. What an emotionally, what an emotional gut punch that final scene in the series is, where, he's sort of played this card where he was not a bastard, a complete bastard, and then his young companion, he just takes him out at the end, and you're like, no, he's the Penguin. He is just an absolute bastard. And it'll be really interesting to see. I mean, using words like terrifying, and it says a lot about the tone. I mean, Matt Reeves' first film, I think back to that first scene that you see the Riddler, where he's stalking that apartment and ultimately, kills. I can't remember who the character was in that, but I think it was like the mayor or something. And so you get that first murder scene, and you're like, wow, um, this is like this is dark. This is David Fincher levels dark. I talked about fixing Batman and Robin and hiring David Fincher to tell the story. But man, Matt Reeves is showing us that it's in his wheelhouse, and he's ready to tell that type of story. So, only being in a couple scenes for the Penguin doesn't surprise me. We are getting Harvey Dent in here, and all the reports say that Sebastian Stan is playing multiple characters. So obviously that means both sides of the coin. So we're going to get Two-Face in this movie. If we don't get Two-Face, it will be the ultimate Two-Face lie that everyone's been selling us. We're definitely getting Two-Face in this movie. Whether or not he is the main villain, whether or not he's Two-Face the entire, for a majority of the movie, is still, a mystery and still yet to be seen. But either way, I think we're looking forward to a couple of scenes with Penguin. I mean, he steals every scene, he's ever in. And he did it in the first film. He obviously is talented enough to carry an entire series on his back, and it was amazing. So Colin Farrell, can't wait to see what he does. It's going to be great. We know that. So we'll check in with the Batman Part 2 as we find out more about that. Heading over from film and these big stories here, but I wanted to head over to the comic book side of things, because Marvel just announced a new series that's about to come up. And Marvel Zombies has been such a huge deal for Marvel Comics over the year. Robert Kirkman first introduced us. Robert Kirkman is the zombie media, he is the written aficionado. I mean, and then his things have translated over into shows like Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman's Marvel Zombies. He's the Romero of this era. And the newest Marvel Comics series, this limited series, Marvel Zombies Warzone. So you're going to get the Punisher taking on a horde of zombies in New York. So the Avengers and the Fantastic Four all fall trying to stop this zombie horde. And look what you get here. I mean, just right off the bat, look, I mean, the Punisher pointing his gun the barrel right down the middle at Tony Stark's Iron Man, who's fallen, Doctor Strange. You can see the Hulk in the background. So there's going to be other street level characters involved. So some of the other characters that are involved with this are Moon Knight, you have Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Elektra. And that's a crazy, got a little bit of Hero for Hire in there. It's very Defender-ish, a little Midnight Suns. But what a cool team, and all led by Frank Castle. And we've got a sneak peek at some of the panels from this, and it looks like they're going to tell this story. I don't know if the majority of the story is going to be told in black and white or shown in black and white, but we've got some images here. It looks like you see Punisher and his gun, and he's dealing with Iron Man, and then based on that image at the very bottom, with it looks like the reactor. It looks like Punisher got the best of Iron Man right there. Some other stuff shows, here's Captain America and Daredevil fighting zombies. Shang-Chi at the bottom. Thor here in this bottom middle panel. So, whether or not this is them fighting. So we know Daredevil's a street level hero, but he's not a part of this team. So this might be the first battle where the heroes kind of fall. The Avengers fall. The Fantastic Four fall, and it sounds like we're getting a story where, you know, it's not just a zombie horde of, you know, whether it's running or you know, kind of slumbering villain or zombies. You know, we're gonna get the typical Marvel zombie where you get the heroes turn zombies with their powers, and Punisher's gonna, and you know, the rest of the cast and crew are gonna have to deal with that. But this is a cool few panels here that just kind of show the scope of what's going on here. And then this is the ultimate, you know, sort of Punisher, you know, on the catwalks, like pointing his, you know, there's so many cool, classic, iconic photos of Punisher, whether it's first time we see him and he's got Spider-Man in his sights, right? Or there's the comic book where he's got the bazooka pointed inside the apartment and at like a gang of bad dudes. So, you know, this is kind of your typical Punisher, you know, imagery in New York City. So a lot of, you know, all this is going to work. This is going to be really exciting. You know, they did Blood Hunt. It's now been, I think, God, almost 2 years now, I think, since Blood Hunt. So Marvel did their big, you know, vampire series. Now we're coming back to zombies because Marvel Zombies rocks, right? If you didn't catch the series, the limited series on Disney Plus, you know, that was really cool. The What If episode is probably the best of all the What If episodes, was the Marvel Zombies. Probably that episode and the Doctor Strange solo episode. But Marvel Zombies, I can't think of a better guy to lead a team against zombies than the Punisher. I mean, who knows if he's able to, if these street level guys are able to deal with. I mean, when Doctor Strange, the Hulk are involved, like that's a really souped up team, and you know, Punisher and his guys are going to have their hands full. Luckily, he's got guys with powers like Luke and Moon Knight and Iron Fist. So, and then also there will be joined by Elektra. Maybe we get Punisher in the War Machine armor in this. That could really, really go hard. But still, a super, super exciting series to look forward to. So that's going to do it for today's show. Not going to get too crazy in, but just a final thought is just a shout out to Alvin, his wife, and their daughter as they celebrate her making her way into the next level and graduating from kindergarten, I believe. So shout out and so happy for you guys. Alvin, we'll see you back here on the show soon. Another reminder, you can catch the Villainz Lair podcast. We talked about where you can download the audio versions now, Apple Music, Spotify. So head over to there and subscribe so that you get all the latest episodes. We are doing new episodes weekdays, Monday through Friday. So trying to be your everyday voice of all the superhero, all the geek culture, all the gaming news we can give you in, 30 to 40 minutes. So really excited. Really appreciate anyone that has stepped inside the Villainz Lair to hang out with me today on a little solo side quest. So appreciate you guys. So for Ryan, your host, myself, thank you so much for rocking with us, and we will see you on the next one.